Hello, everyone. Thanks to coming to my presentation. My name is Wade Jackson, and this is for my ISA class 4220. I'm going to talk about two of the most popular operating systems in this presentation. The names of these servers are Windows Server 2022 and Ubuntu Server 24 LTS. I will also look at a specific firewall that each of these operating systems can use. These firewalls include the Windows firewalls, which will be used for the Microsoft Server operating system, and Linux IP tables, which will be used for the Ubuntu operating system. In addition to these, I will also be giving best practices and recommendations for each of these operating systems and firewalls. This table of contents lists some of the subtopics that we will be tackling in this presentation. First, we will learn what firewalls are and how they filter out unauthorized and suspicious packets. Next, we will look at the Windows operating system and its firewall. After tackling Microsoft, we will dive deep into Linux and its Ubuntu 24 LTS operating system, as well as its firewall. We will examine the commands available on Linux, and then we will conclude by discussing the best practices for operating systems as well as the firewalls. How do these server environments secure their networks and resources? We shall begin with an overview of each of the operating systems, and then after we will discuss the native firewall solutions installed on the Microsoft servers and on the Linux servers, Windows firewall and Linux IP tables respectively. This presentation will provide the full picture, thereby ensuring that you know how to install, troubleshoot, manage, and secure your server environments using these powerful tools. We will then analyze the fundamental principles, environments, and best practices of both systems, ensuring that we will remain safe from unauthorized access and cyberspace attacks. A firewall is a security system usually in place as software or hardware that serves as a point of protection between a trusted network and an untrusted network. It plays the major role of regulating traffic that can enter or leave an operating system or network by establishing a rule set. When the firewall receives an IP packet, it compares it with these rules. When there is a packet that matches a rule, an action is performed. Most often to throw away the packet or to accept the packet which allows it to pass it through. These policies can be tailored extensively and are usually configured using such things as IP addresses and destinations, port numbers, protocols such as TCP, UDP, or ICMP, and the direction of the traffic. These basic concepts are important to understand, and they are the building blocks when configuring any firewall either on a Windows or Linux server. Microsoft Windows Server 2022 is developed as a cloud-ready operating system and offers strong hybrid features that can be implemented as on-premises investment in Microsoft Azure. One key feature of this release is improved security with the Secured Core OS option, which uses Trusted Platform Module 2.0 and System Guard to protect against firmware weaknesses. It also introduces innovations for modernized server infrastructure, such as better support for containers and better virtualization. According to Microsoft Evaluation Center, standard data set and essential editions of Windows Server 2022 catered to the requirements of diverse organization. Client access licenses may be required for users or devices accessing the server as its primary implements pure core licensing. Importantly to our discussion, Windows Firewall is a built-in security part of the system and is on by default on all Windows versions. Windows Firewall is a basic security tool that is part of the Windows operating system, including Windows Server 2022. It is a host-based firewall that is secure on individual device on which is executed, and it's on default enabled. Its default action is restrictive against inbound connections. It only permits incoming traffic when responded to or when it matches a specific allowed rule. Outgoing traffic, on the other hand, is more permissive, and it lets all traffic pass unless it corresponds to an explicit block rule. One of its strengths is that it supports Internet Protocol security that enables the necessary authentication and encryption of network data to include data integrity and confidentiality. In addition, according to Microsoft support, Windows Firewall also dynamically adjusts security configuration in line with network location awareness such that various rules are implemented on different networks depending on whether the device is on the public, private, or domain network. Windows Firewall has three different network profiles, namely named domain, private, and public. The main profile is applied to a device by default when it is attached to an Active Directory domain and identifies the availability of a domain controller. The private profile is appropriate on trusted networks such as home networks or small business networks, whereas the public profile is for increased security on untrusted networks such as Wi-Fi, hotspots, coffee shops, or airports. Firewall rules may be set to apply to any of these profiles or some combination of them. In the case of a rule evaluation, an explicitly defined rule will always override the default block setting. Further still, there will be an explicit rule of block that will override any conflicting rule of allow. Noble NuBut is a version of Ubuntu Server 24.04 LTS, which is a noteworthy release for the open source community. Noble NuBut sets itself apart with a 12-year support cycle offering long-term stability and security updates that extend beyond previous LTS releases. Included in this release, the new Linux kernel 6.8, which boasts numerous improvements and enhanced hardware support, particularly for CPUs and GPUs. Among the more intriguing changes that have happened is the incorporation of the network configuration with NetPlan 1.0 that provides a similar style to desktop servers and cloud environments. In addition, Wells says Ubuntu 24.04 LTS is more provisionable and has an inbuilt auto install support in the graphical installer, which enables a customized, repeatable, and automated install process. This release clearly demonstrates performance, compatibility, and security issues. IP tables is a robust command line interface application to set up the NetFilter firewall built into the Linux kernel to support IPv4 traffic. It operates by comparing the network packets to a defined set of rules to take the right action. Such individual rules are grouped into chains, which are collections. Various chains are, in their turn, combined in several different tables, each of which is intended to serve a specific purpose. Standard tables are filtered to use on packet filtering, NAT to use on network address translation, and Mango used on specific packets. When a packet is matched for a rule, a target action is taken. When no rule can be found in a chain, a default action will, which is referred to as the policy, is applied. IP tables also make use of several default chains to classify process network packets depending on their direction and purpose. The input chain handles all incoming packets that are destined for the local server itself. The output chain applies to traffic that is generated by leaving the server. The forward chain is critical for packets that are not destined for or originate for the local server, but rather are being routed through it, essentially when the server acts as a router. Also, pre-routing and post-routing chains are utilized to modify packets entering or leaving the system. The use of IP tables requires definite parameters and commands to manipulate the rules of chains. To insert a new rule, normally you use the A option, which will put the rule at the end of a given chain. The -L list option makes it simple to view your existing firewall rules, while the -F choice eliminates all existing rules, providing a fresh start. Typical examples are to permit traffic on the localhost interface, to communicate with the network, or to open a port such as SSH or HTTP using protocol and destination port options. Traffic can also be blocked at source IP addresses using the drop target. To conclude, firewalls are effective security systems on the Windows 7 and Linux servers, as they serve as an initial preventive system that keeps the network vulnerable. Windows Firewall is a powerful host-based product that features a user-friendly graphical user interface, unique network profiles, and transparent rule precedence logic. IP tables, however, is an extremely versatile and potent command line interface to Linux, which allows access to